hardest question ever because I'm so many things. Like I never know how to answer this, but I'm Shawn. I go by Shawn Flossy. Most people know me for trapping on the gram. That's what people know me for real. But I do a lot of other stuff. Like I'm an author. I'm big into tech. I work in tech really. I do a lot of, I won't exactly talk about all the stuff I do professionally, but I do tech stuff. I do like business consultations, like business consults. I'm pretty much like my whole brand is like I'm the money making mission. Anyway, to figure out how to make money on social media or social platforms, like I have cracked the code. I figured it out, and that's pretty much what I try to do and help other people do. But it depends on like how you met me, where you met me at, and what you know me for. But I do many things.
I dig it.
So let's tap into the writer aspect. Because I did see on your website that you wrote 3 books. Now, I haven't read them, but I read like the synopsis of them. So what kind of was your inspiration behind the creation of them?
Okay, so, well, technically all my books, I published 4 books, but my first 3 books are fiction works of art, and they are classified as erotic fiction. So I'm sure y'all know what erotic fiction is all about. I actually started writing. I had a blog a long time ago when I was in college. I wrote on this blog, and I did basically like these these short stories. And my readers were basically like, you need to make a book, make a whole book. So that's how I started. That's how I got into it because I was blogging with it. I never actually really planned to be an author, but it kind of just happened to me. I guess it kind of became a thing, so I got into it that way. But and my 4th book that I wrote is actually called The Money Making Mission. So that's my only nonfiction book that I wrote and I sold last summer. Actually, I only published a certain amount of copies, and I actually sold out all of those copies in like the first 5 hours. So it did pretty well. I'm actually gonna do I'm gonna try to bend the block and do a part 2 of that one too. But I'm into write. I just write. That's what I do. That's like my hobby.
Yeah. Respect. Let me ask you this, because you said that you didn't intentionally wanted to start off, I guess, at a professional degree as an author.
Right.
But you ended up being one, a successful one at that, especially with what you just did,
Yeah. And
there's a certain way that you separated yourself from the classification of your first 3 novels.
Yes.
In the way that it's classified as erotic fiction. So
right.
My question to you is, what was the state of mind when you were writing then? If it wasn't intended to be erotic fiction per se, what motivated it? What inspired you to put the pen to the paper in that regard and use your creative faculties towards that avenue?
Yeah, so that's the thing with categorization. It's really hard to pick one category for a lot of stuff, especially books and like movies and stuff, because it can be more than one thing. But when I write, I try to tell the whole story, right? So if you're talking about a person's entire life, like sex is included, especially if we're talking about romantic relationships and all that stuff. And basically, like, my style is to be very descriptive. So I felt like I would have been doing a disservice to my readers if I skipped that part. I'm describing every single thing else, but I'm skipping the sex part. Like, that to me didn't feel like that told a cohesive story. And so, of course, I add that in the story. There's a bunch of scenes that include it because that's the nature of most of my characters have like that kind of feel, style. Like my first character, she just was promiscuous. I call her professional hoe. So her whole story, like, she had to be having sex in order for it to like make sense. But I would kind of classify it as a drama. Like, if I were to pick the category, I would say drama. But the thing about writing about sex is, like, you kind of have to make it explicitly known that it is erotic content, or you might be selling to the wrong audience. So I understand that, like, I put myself in that box, but I think it worked out. It worked out for me, so I'm not really mad about it.
I dig it. And I thank you for that too. I'm sure that Dad feels the same way, because there's so much political aspects to the creative vehicles that we use and shit, that the way that we start off might not be the way that we end up. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. And that's how I felt like when I wrote my last book. It's a nonfiction book, and it's literally about how to make money. And I remember sitting down thinking, like, the brand that I already have created with Shawn Flossy is very far away from what people would associate with somebody who knows business and who knows how to like navigate those spaces. So I had to be very intentional about that branding. Like I published that book under just Shawn. Like I took Flossy off. Like I needed to differentiate the two spaces. And then I did a lot of my marketing for my fourth book on LinkedIn specifically. I didn't do a ton of, I did some marketing on Instagram, but I didn't do a lot of it on Instagram because the audiences are different, the niche is different. You know, you want to approach each platform with real intention and be specific about it. But yeah, it is challenging when you put yourself in a category. You kind of you're not stuck there, but if you want to get out, you got to really think about it. Like how do I transcend this space? Like how do I transform myself? And it really is about being open-minded enough to be like, okay, cool, I could try this. Let me see if I can do it this way. I think I can make that work. And I think like, I don't think you